Hey, everybody. Hope you are doing well, and we'll have a fabulous 4th and a great holiday weekend. The NBA, kind of a quiet day today, kind of quiet, not much going on. The moratorium ends on the afternoon of July 6th. So, at that point, you can put pen to paper and you can make all of these moves that we've heard official. All right. Now, the one thing I'm going to say, and it's why I don't pay attention to these rumors, okay? Most of these rumors are untrue. What bothers me are the quote unquote so-called media members that feel like they have to put information out on social media to be relevant to justify their quote unquote expertise on a team. So instead of being quiet, they feel they have to be relevant, and they throw darts at a dartboard, and they talk about things that are close to happening based on somebody else's social media post without having any real information that's factual. I don't pay attention to that stuff. I never have. Just, I use common sense a lot. I have a lot of sources within the NBA that I trust, that are in the know. And if I want information, I go to them. I see a lot of things on social media and I just roll my eyes. It's just unbelievable to me. It really is. Have you ever kept score of the people that you cover on the internet or on your local radio station or your local TV station? Have you ever kept score on how often they're right as opposed to how often they're wrong? Do you ever do that? I do it all the time with my mind. I don't write it down, but I know. So I'm just asking, do you do that? Do you do that? Again, I'm on the air for 1 minute. I'm getting all these Kuminga questions. All right, so here's my question to you. The Warriors have been a model franchise, correct? They were a dynasty for a period of time. I don't think that's wrong to use the word dynasty. They're relevant almost every year because of the moves that they make. I'm not saying that every move that they make is perfect, but they've got a pretty good average. So as far as Jonathan Kuminga goes, why are the Warriors so open to having him leave the franchise at age 22 with what appears to be a lot of upside on an aging team, a team that is going to be overhauled here in the very near future because of Steph Curry, because of Draymond Green, Jimmy Butler, right? I mean, let's just acknowledge that. Why would the Warriors, okay? Why would the Warriors be so okay with moving a very young player who, again, apparently has that upside? Ask yourself that question. Ask yourself that question. And then get back to me. All right. We're getting you ready for the 4th. All right. So far, we know what the Kings have done. Their 2 rookies had their press conference. They're both signed in Clifford and Reynaud. They're going to be at the Vegas Summer League, so you'll be able to see them play against other young players. You will make an immediate overreaction to their play in Summer League, whether it's good or bad. I will contend to you that it means basically nothing. I would say that if they don't look good at times, that would be problematic. But in my opinion, they don't have to look great. They just have to look like they belong. Because again, you're not playing against, for the most part, NBA caliber competition at the Las Vegas Summer League. I think the Summer League's a waste of money. That's what I think. And I think you'd be much better off having a week of practices in your own practice facility than you would spending all that money going to Vegas. That's my opinion. I think it's just, I understand why the league does it, and the league does a great job. They do a great job. I used to go to the Summer League every year. They do a great job. I find the games to be as boring as can be because, again, very often you're going to go to a game and you may not even see a NBA player on the floor. So take Summer League for what it's worth. Don't make too much out of it. Don't overreact. Don't be too judgmental. The only issue I have with Summer League in terms of evaluating rookies and free agents is if they look at a place and you're like, oh boy, you shouldn't look at a place at Summer League if you're an NBA player. Okay? You shouldn't. You just shouldn't. All right. If you want to call the show, please do so. All right. Let me put the QR code above my shoulder for you. All right. You can scan that to call, or you can hit the link, and I'll be more than happy to put you on right here on the Open Forum show. So it's been a week where you lost Laravia, correct? You lost Jake Laravia to the Lakers. You traded Jonas Valanciunas to Denver. You basically gave him away to save $5 million. I still do not understand that. It is an excuse for the team executives and star players to party. That could not be further from the truth. But two guys that were very big role players in Valanciunas and Laravia, and then you add Dennis Schroder in free agency. Are you better right now than you were at the start of free agency? And I think Schroder will be good for the Kings. I think he'll be good. It's an upgrade at that position. I don't think there's any debate on that. But it doesn't move the needle for me. I'm not super excited. All right. I will get to Ben McLemore in a moment. Call me crazy, but I'm trying to figure out how we both pay Kuminga and Keegan Murray. Don't worry about it. As far as Ben McLemore goes, he was found guilty of first-degree rape, and he will be sentenced, I believe it was July 9th or 10th. I don't really have much more to say on that. I don't. I mean, I was around Ben for a number of years. I mean, what am I going to say, right? I mean, there's a victim here. He was found guilty by a jury, and he'll be sentenced here next week. The bench just got weaker by the moves. True, but it's July 3rd. So the bench can be fixed between now and October. That's another thing, fans. You got to realize that, like, the season doesn't start tomorrow. All right? It doesn't start tomorrow. Give it a chance to be put together. Right? So, yeah, right now the bench does look weaker, but that doesn't mean the bench is going to be weaker when they go to training camp in about October or the end of September. You know, everyone wants to try to, like, talk about the roster on July 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. Okay? I just want to say, give it a chance. All right, give it a chance. There's going to be movement throughout the summer. Add player here, add a player there. Right? Happens all the time. So don't judge it too strictly right now, based on 3.5 days of free agency. Will the Kings be able to make a trade with DeRozan? Will they be able to make a trade with another player? Will they be able to sign a player to a mid-level? Will they be able to sign a player to a veterans minimum? There's all kinds of ways to add and to fix your team. We need to clear cap space to sign Jalen Williams in 2 years. OKC will move forward with SGA and Chet. You're thinking way too ahead of the game. It's not. Oh God, I don't even know what to say to that. No one in the Kings front office is saying, "Oh, we need to clear cap space to sign Jalen Williams in 2 years." Nobody. What's up, everyone? I am new to the program. Jackson, we're glad to have you here, man. Thank you very much. Put you up there. Say hello, everyone, to Jackson. What do I miss most since I left broadcasting Kings games? We miss your game calls, Grant. Do you know if the same talent in quotation marks will be back next year? I have no idea who's coming back or not coming back. The thing I miss the most are the dramatic moments. I've always said this about a play-by-play announcer. The game is 48 minutes. You may only be remembered for 10 seconds of a 2.5-hour telecast. The biggest moments, the moments that you can't forecast, the moments that just happen, it's all spontaneous. And you may get home that night and you'll be the number one play on SportsCenter with your voice. And your social media will blow up. And me as an announcer, the second the play is over, I know whether I nailed it or not. And that's what we're judged by. All announcers of all generations are judged by the big moments. We're not judged by a 15-foot jump shot that we called in the first 3 minutes of the first quarter. We're not judged on a 3-on-1 fast break in the second half that makes the score 70-62. We're remembered for, and the moments are lived over and over and over again. Like, for instance, a meaningless game between the Kings and the Grizzlies, where Tyreke Evans made the half-court shot and the place went crazy and blah, 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 right? Or going into Oakland for a regular season game that was absolutely meaningless for Sacramento. They had nothing to play for. And I have the pleasure of announcing to this day the greatest quarter that I ever witnessed and was ever played by any player in the history of the NBA, when Klay Thompson scored 37 points in one quarter. Like, those are the moments. The 35-point comeback in Chicago. To this day, of all the games that I called, and it was in the thousands, low thousands, but okay, many, many games. To this day, I believe that's the best quarter of basketball that I've ever called. That fourth quarter in Chicago, I believe to this day is the best quarter of basketball that I ever called. So those are the things that I miss. And the people. You meet just great, great people along the way. Jackson, and I'll put this up for everyone to read. It says, Grant, any New rumors to talk about the Kings. I heard a rumor that the Kings want to trade Monk and Keegan Murray to the Warriors for Jonathan Kuminga. I'm going to say this. I don't pay attention to rumors like that because there's no way in the world the Kings are trading Keegan Murray and Malik Monk to the Warriors for Kuminga, okay? That's number one. Number two, 99% of these rumors don't happen. And unless it comes from a very credible source, I don't pay attention to it. So I'm not really paying attention to that, all right? I'm not paying attention to that. But we'll know something before the weekend's over because if Kuminga is going to leave the Warriors, it would be this weekend. It would be this weekend. All right, again, if you want to get in on the program, you can do so. I love the messages. And Jackson, thank you very much for joining us here on the stream. Make sure you subscribe if you have not already done so, because that way you'll know when shows are coming your way. So just subscribe. And also, if you didn't mind, hit the thumbs up button, give us a like. We would greatly appreciate that. We also appreciate all of our sponsors. And I hope this weekend you can get down to Bennets for their prime seafood and steak. Bennets in Sacramento, Roseville, and the West Side Grill in Rockland. Go to bennetsrestaurants.com to make a reservation. That's bennetsrestaurants.com and enjoy their prime seafood and steaks. And don't forget about their outstanding weekend brunch. Again, that's bennetsrestaurants.com. No show tomorrow. Now, if the Kings make an earth-shattering deal, Ryan, I'm sure, will jump on. I'll jump on. We'll figure it out. But, we are available if something happens that we feel means we need to jump on and talk about it, okay? So there you have it. What are my dinner plans for the 4th? Do you know the menu? I'm not really a big holiday guy, and so I don't even have any plans yet for tomorrow. I haven't really even thought about it, to be honest with you. So those are I guess that would be does that answer your question? When I was years ago when my kids were younger and the family dynamic was intact, that it was different. I always made sure that it was special for the boys, but now it's not a big deal to me. It's not a big deal to me. If I get asked over to a friend's, yeah, I'll do that or what have you, but I don't really give a lot of thought to that. All right. All right, here's a good one. Above or below 70 hot dogs for Joey tomorrow? After what happened last year, I'm going to say whatever the over under is, I'll go over, okay? This is a good one. Top 3 vacation destinations in the world. That's a fabulous one. For me, right? In no particular order, I will say Switzerland, Thailand, the Maldives. Switzerland, Thailand, Maldives. Would I be in favor of an all-you-can-eat spaghetti contest versus hot dog? I don't care. Grant, if the Kings win the championship this year, will you buy us all Bennets? Yes, I will. Not a problem. All right. Sure. We're talking about the NBA championship, right? Not the Summer League championship. We're talking about the NBA championship. So if the Kings finish first among all 30 teams and win the championship next year, yes, I would be happy to do that for you. All right. Jackson, you shouldn't be paying attention to rumors. If they upset you, you should ignore them. All right. Grant, I think I saw you at the Laguna Racket Club back in the late 90s. Great times. Was there all the time. All the time. Nice choices, Grant. Mine are Japan, the United Kingdom, and Dubai. I would put Dubai in there. I love Dubai. I didn't like the United Kingdom at all. A matter of fact, I don't like going to England or I love Scotland, the UK, but in terms of like London, I'm not a big fan of London. I'm just not. It's not a city I really have any desire to go to. But I do love Dubai. Dubai is a great city. Love Dubai. What does Scott Perry see in Dennis Schroder? Well, I can't speak for Scott Perry, but he's an established veteran point guard. For the most part, he played very well last year. Played very well for Detroit in a backup role. It was the third guard. I mean, he's a veteran. He can run a team. All right, he can run a team. I'm not crazy about him, but he's good. All right. How far are the Kings from winning the NBA Finals? Uh, very, 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 very far. I would say Japan, Daang, Vietnam, and Hawaii. I can't argue with Daang. That's a great, great area. I love Daang. I've been there 3 times. 3 times? Yeah, I've been there 3 times. It's my favorite place to go in Vietnam. I love it. It's great. Hawaii is tough to beat. That's true. For a vacation destination, that would be tough to beat. Have I been to Dublin? I've not been to Dublin, Ireland. I've never been to Ireland. My wife and I went there on our honeymoon, and it was one of our best experiences. Went where? Do I go to Pattaya? Yes, I've been to Pattaya many times. Pattaya is it's on the Gulf of Thailand. It's on the east side of the Gulf of Thailand. It's about 2 hours from Bangkok. I've been there. I've been to Pattaya maybe 10 times. Who is my favorite baseball team? Yankees? Yes. When I was growing up, the Yankees were awful until I got to high school, and then they became good. I remember how painful my first big high school football game was when the Yankees were playing the World Series against the Cincinnati Reds, where they got swept, but it was a big deal. Chris Chambers hit the home run against the Royals at the new Yankee Stadium to win the pennant, and then they got swept by the Reds and Sparky Anderson's Big Red Machine. And game one started at the same time as my high school football game, which it was a huge game. And I was just like, I was so torn, because I was good in high school football and I was a starter and it was a big deal and it was a big game. And the Yankees were playing at the same time and they got shut out by Don Gullett and the Reds. It's amazing the things I remember. It's amazing the things you remember. I remember going, God, I can't believe I'm missing the Yankees in the World Series. It's funny because that year, this is a funny story. That same year, the Yankees, when they were playing the Royals in the ALCS, the game was an afternoon game. And my good buddy, Gary McTagg, Tigger had 2 tickets for the Yankees and the Royals game. And he says, Napes, we got to go to the game. I'm like, I can't. I got practice. Well, I only played defense. I was a starting defensive lineman. And we had it was either an offensive day or a defensive day. So I said, hold on a minute. And I went down to the gym area and I looked on the wall and they had a list of what we were doing at practice. And it was an offensive day. So I'm like, all right, we're going. So we cut school and we get on the Long Island Railroad. We get to the game. Just incredible. Just incredible. I get to school the next day and I go to my locker where all my football equipment is, and my football equipment locker is empty. I'm like, oh my God, I got kicked off the team. So they were playing. Everyone knew how ridiculously absurd of a fan I was. Like people understood like how freaking important that was. And I actually believe I told my defensive line coach, Fred DeJean. I think I called his name was DJ. I think I actually said, DJ, man, I'm not going to be at practice today. And DJ was a big, had a very raspy voice. He was a health education teacher. Loved DJ, great guy. And I actually believe I told him, I go, DJ, man, I can't go to practice today. I gotta go. I gotta go to the Yankee game. Like I remember having that conversation. But then when I got to school the next day and saw that my football locker had been cleared, and they let me think all day that I had been kicked off the team until I showed up to practice that afternoon. They got me on that one. I will tell you that. Oh my gosh, that was some. That was. I'll never forget that. Oh my gosh, incredible. Hey Jackson, you're going overboard with this. That Jonathan Kuminga's a superstar. Jackson. Let me explain something to you first, okay? You can't become a superstar until you become an all-star. Okay, you have to become an all-star first before you can become a superstar. I was a Met fan. I was 10, but Chambliss hit that home run, and Tom Seaver was gone, and Reggie appeared later, jumped to the Yankees. Yeah, Tom Seaver. The Mets were great during that era. Before then. Do I think an NBA basketball team should be in Vegas? One of the Maloof brothers said he was concerned if too many major leagues come due to limited corporate sponsorship. I would be concerned about that too. The Vegas Golden Knights are such a hot ticket. They do phenomenally well. I don't want to you know how I feel about the guy that runs the team and makes all the moves. He's one of my 2 or 3 best friends in life, George McPhee. But as long as George is there, they're not going anywhere in terms of their fans. So I would agree with the Maloofs. I think that's very true. With MLB, no salary cap, is the level of competition fair in baseball? No, it is definitely not. Definitely not. I don't think there's any question about that. No question. No, it is not. Hey, Newworks Plumbing, they've got a fix for you. They're available around the clock 24/7 for your plumbing needs and repairs. Go to sackserviceplumbing.com or newworksplumbing.com. That's NEWWRXplumbing.com. Newworks Plumbing, they've got a fix for you. They are awesome. Keep them in mind if you need them. Newworks Plumbing, they've got a fix for you. Don't forget, no show tomorrow as we celebrate the 4th. I will be back on Monday. If something big happens over the weekend, I'll probably jump on. I'm sure Rhino would as well. So make sure you subscribe. All right. And then you'll know when we are going to be on. All right. My opinion, should we pursue Kuminga and at what cost? He has shown to have great potential if put in a starting role. It would depend on who you would have to give up to get him. I would take a chance on Kuminga, yes. Who's my top 5 Sacramento era Kings of all time? It's so difficult because I go back to when they moved here in 85. So, I mean, it's a great question, but it's over the years, it's just so difficult. It's just so difficult. I'll ask you, who's your all-time starting 5? Who's your all-time starting 5? I would probably say Sabonis as my center, Weber as my power forward with Otis Thorpe as his backup, Paya as my small forward, Reggie Theus or Danny Ainge, probably Danny Ainge as my shooting guard, and Mike Bibby as my point guard. I mean, it's very, very difficult to do. I mean, I can't. I mean, you're going to say, what about Mitch Richmond? I got to put Mitch on there too, right? Like, would I put Mitch ahead of Danny Ainge? In terms of like basketball talent and everything, yes. I mean, would I have Mitch ahead of Reggie Theus? Completely different era. But if you were telling me taking Reggie Theus out of UNLV at 21 or 22, or Mitch Richmond out of Kansas State, I probably would change that and go to Mitch. But I mean, I'm so fond of Reggie and how he played and what he did. So I'd probably go Bibby, Richmond, Stojakovic, Weber, Sabonis. My backup at center would be Vlade. My backup to Chris would be Otis Thorpe. Otis Thorpe was great. So it's a good question. Yeah, you're right. The Rock does have to be on the list. That's my bad. You're right. No question. Otis Thorpe. Damn, we could use him right now. Yeah, he's great guy, great player. And I don't use the word great very often. I thought he was great. There's no way in the world you can have Cousins on there, even on honorable mention. You can't do that. You got to be kidding me. You can't have Mahmoud as your point guard or shooting guard. Mahmoud is very good, but he's not on the list. And I enjoyed watching Mahmoud play a lot, but no way. No way. Brad Miller was very good too. Brad could be like in the conversation. Could be on there, Mitch, Tisdale, Spud, Weber, Otis. Well, come on now. Can't have Spud on there, and Spud's one of my best friends. You want championship Bobby Jackson on that team for intangibles. Bobby would definitely be my sixth man. That's for sure. Definitely be my sixth man. There's no question about that. It's always fun to talk about. He would be my sixth man. Be hard not to have him as my sixth man. Definitely. Hey, this weekend, if you are looking for a place to relocate, you might want to take a drive to Calusa and check out Sunrise Landing by going to CalusaSunrise.com. Easy to get to, I-5, Highway 45, Highway 20, depending on where you're departing from the area. But remember, there's no Mellorews, there's no homeowners. It's adjacent to the Calusa Golf and Country Club, and you're going to love the area. All right? Check it out, CalusaSunrise.com. That's Sunrise Landing in Calusa. I think you're going to really like it. That's CalusaSunrise.com and Sunrise Landing. Really enjoy getting all the messages right here as we get ready to celebrate the holiday weekend. Demarcus Cousins is by far the most talented king ever. No way he's not on that list, whether you like him personally or not. Yeah, but we're talking about like winning. We're not talking about talent. We're talking about if you had to win. If you have to win, you wouldn't have him anywhere near your team. Nowhere near your team. He would destruct your team. That's why I can't put him on there. Now, if you're just only going by talent and talent alone, yes, he'd be in a conversation. But talent doesn't win in the NBA. Talent plus desire plus professionalism plus work ethic win in the NBA. Talent alone does not win in the NBA. Period. Period. My thoughts on Arco Arena. Arco Arena and Chicago Stadium, before the Bulls moved into their new United Center back in the 90s, were the two best arenas in basketball. For atmosphere, environment, it was incredible. Incredible. Reynaud said Stanford ran a Sacramento Kings copycat offense, and he's looking forward to working with Domantas Sabonis. He should look forward to working with Sabonis. He's going to learn a lot. All right. Did I forget the chemistry wins in the NBA also? No, it's probably the number one thing on my list. All right. Is the book in the works yet? Not yet. All right. Cousins was a great player for the Kings. No, he wasn't a great player for the Kings. He was the most destructive player in the history of the Sacramento Kings. He just needed a dad in his life. I'm not going to talk about his upbringing, okay, because there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of players from different upbringings with different life stories. And most of them figure out a way to be productive and not be destructive. So, and many of those players also didn't have dads in their lives and have done just fine. So I'm not saying that not having a father in your life is not important. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that others have figured out a way to do it. He never did. But no, he was not a great player for the Kings. And if you think he was a great player for the Kings, I'm sorry, but you have no idea what you're talking about. Top 5 biggest bust in Sacramento era history. That's a great one. I don't know if you can just come up with 5. Probably Purvis Ellison, number 1 pick in the draft. Thomas Robinson's on that list for sure. I can't, I mean, you could put, based on where he was taken at number 2, Marvin Bagley, but he's still playing in the league. And for that reason, I can't put him in a top 5, but he's in the conversation. Jimmer Fredette is on that list. Probably, I know I'm going to forget one along the way because we're going all the way back now into the 80s. Probably Nick Stauskas is on that list. That's a great question. That's a good one. I'm talking about guys that were drafted that, 3 or 4 years later were just not even part of the picture, but that's a good one. Tyreke Evans, are you kidding me? Tyreke was Rookie of the Year and had a long career. He's not a bust. How could you say Tyreke Evans? That's ridiculous. Ben McLemore was not a bust. I mean, he actually had a productive NBA career and ended up playing very well at the end of his career. How could you say Tyreke Evans? Come on. Wow. Gosh. It's definitely not Tyreke Evans at all. It's a good question, though. Yeah, Quincy Doobie's on there. That's a good one, Dennis. The guy that Jay Billis said would be a tremendous NBA player and one of the best players coming out of the draft. Come on. I love watch Ralph play too, but not with Sacramento because he couldn't even run when he got to Sacramento. Yeah, Quincy Doobie was definitely he's a big time bust. No doubt about that. No doubt about that. All right, so don't forget, no show tomorrow. All right. No show tomorrow. If something big happens, make sure you look at your notifications because you may be surprised and we may be on. We may jump on if something big happens. All right. We'll be here. We'll figure it out. We'll get it going. I appreciate all of you. It's been a good week. Really appreciate all the phone calls, all the tremendous messages. Appreciate your support. And we've got a lot coming your way next week, beginning on Monday. We've got the Summer League MVP, right? Or excuse me, Summer League. I was looking at a chat message. We've got Summer League. So at least we were able to look at the rookies and we'll see. We'll see how they look. All right. All right. Take care, everyone. We'll talk to you on Monday, if not sooner. Happy 4th. Stay safe. Bye-bye.